I was frustrated with my life until I learned these three keys to being happy. These things are, to this day, constant reminders of how I should be living if I want to live a happy, fulfilling, joyful life. And so if you're feeling stuck in life, frustrated with where you're at, the kind of job that you have, and just the kind of state that you find yourself in, like you look yourself in the mirror in the morning and you wonder to yourself, why am I so dissatisfied with my life? And you go to work and you dread being there. If you're in that kind of situation, then I think this video is at least my experience of how I weathered through that phase in my life and the lessons that come along with that. I hope that can help you in your journey to living a happier life. 8 years ago, when I moved abroad to China, I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to become this online entrepreneur, and I wanted to do it in like a year. And then I wanted to gloriously return to Canada. I wanted to prove to my dad and my mom that, hey, like your son can take care of himself and he's doing well for himself. And fast forward 8 years, I'm still in China. And I don't have a successful business. And that really hurt me for the first few years. Like when I failed that first year, I mean, thinking back, it wasn't even really failure. I kind of just stopped and I gave up. But when I failed, because I perceived it as failure, I just felt like paralyzed from not being able to make anything happen in my life. And I mean, maybe that's you. Maybe you're trying to get to a certain milestone in your life. Like you're saving your first $100,000 and it feels like it's taking forever. Or like other things. You're trying to get a promotion. You're trying to ask a girl out. You're trying to do well in school. Whatever. You're trying, but it's not happening. And you're feeling the effects of that. And you're paralyzed and you escape. The way that I dealt with that was through escapism. I started playing phone games a lot. I watched dramas. I dreamt of success. I read self-help books as if reading the book did anything to change my life. But it wasn't until I realized, and I mean really realized, that success isn't determined by the results that I get. At least if I want to be successful in a worldly sense, have money and all that, then my success should not be defined, in my own perspective, by the results that I get, but instead it should be defined by the actions that I do, because I have control over my actions. I have control over my inputs. And so I was in a place where my expectation for myself was just too high. I was not the person capable of making $1 million of starting an online business. And so I realized eventually, after series of failures, that I just needed to stay grounded in the truths that I believed in, the things that I was capable of doing, and I needed to focus on the action and not the results. That's kind of what made this YouTube channel possible. I mean, what is success now? Success is a video a week. Success to me is not 1 million subscribers. It's not $10,000 a month. It's not even $1,000 a month. It's just a video a week. I've lowered my expectations so much that I'm now able to execute on my actions. I mean, I remember a guy going up to Alex Hormozy, and Alex Hormozy was telling the story of one of his employees, the guy going up to him asking, hey, like, I want to start training. I want to start going to the gym. Like, what's the perfect routine? And Alex Hormozy was like, dude, your goal for the next 3 months is just to go to the gym. I don't care what you do at the gym. You just need to be there. And after 3 months, if you can commit consistently, then we'll start talking about a training routine of what muscles to train and all that. But first, you need to build the habit of consistency. If you're trying to start some kind of business, if you're trying to get an A in school, you have to realize that getting an A, starting a business, getting into a healthy relationship romantically requires a lot of different steps and a lot of different skills. And it's much easier to build those things one at a time. And for me right now, I just want to be consistent because consistency over the last 10 years has been the only thing that has gotten me results in any area of my life. And so the first key to a happy life is to lower your expectations of yourself and do actions that align with an identity that you can strive to actually reach. What is the minimum viable action that you can take that will move you towards your goals? Just do that and forget about everything else. To tell you more about the second key to happiness in my life, I have to tell you about a person that I know in my life, and her name is Kelly. It was my first year away from home, and Kelly was this kind-hearted teacher that would host every teacher, anybody that was willing to go, at her place for dinner every single week, and she paid everything out of her own pocket. And it wasn't until a year later that I had learned that she had actually been in debt the whole time, that her whole purpose of coming to China was to save money and pay off debt. And yet whatever left over from her debt repayments was all used to fund this dinner that she would cook every single week for a bunch of teachers, sometimes 20 to 30 teachers. And so she's one of the kindest and happiest people I've met in my whole life. And meanwhile, I was there thinking about, oh my God, I don't have enough money for a down payment for an apartment in Vancouver. She lived a life of abundance and it showed. And I lived a life of scarcity and it also showed. And so the second key to happiness that I've learned from Kelly is just a life of gratitude and gratefulness and living a life of abundance and not scarcity, and realizing that if I got the chance to grow up in North America and be born in Hong Kong, I already won the genetic lottery. So there's absolutely no reason for me to be unhappy whatsoever. So let's pretend you're living a life of abundance, and because you've lowered your expectations, you're consistently progressing towards your goals, but you're still unhappy. And at this point, it probably has something to do with your relationships. And I've worked at enough schools and seen enough people to recognize that some people just wear unhappiness on their faces and they think the world is out to get them. And if you talk to them and communicate with them, they think you're out to get them. And that kind of makes you unhappy as well. And if you're in an environment where most people are like that, then you're in an environment with toxic relationships. No matter how much money you make, if you have toxic relationships and if the people you share your life with don't appreciate you and what you do for them, you're not going to be very happy. Maybe it's time to change your environment. Maybe it's time to have an honest conversation. If that doesn't work out, maybe it's time to just leave. Whatever it takes, you need an environment that empowers you to be directionally correct in your goals. So the third key to happiness is pursuing the relationships that empower you, not destroy you.